Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. A major scandal has rocked the Punjab police, with the CBI arresting a Deputy Inspector General of Police, Harcharan Singh Bhullar, in a bribery case. The 2007 batch IPS officer heading Ropar Range allegedly demanded 8 lakh rupees and monthly bribes from scrap dealer Akash Batta to settle a 2023 cheating case. On October 16th, the CBI caught Bhullar's aide, Krishanu Sarda, accepting the payoff in Chandigarh. Bhullar was arrested after a recorded call confirmed his role. Searches uncovered 5 crore in cash, 1.5 kg of gold, luxury watches, and many property documents. On October 17th, a Chandigarh court sent both of the accused to judicial custody until October the 30th. Yesterday, Punjab suspended Bhullar. The CBI is now probing the source of his wealth and possible wider corruption. A stunning fall for a senior officer, raising questions about trust in Punjab's police. Joining me on the broadcast to discuss this further is Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, Harsh Singh Dahiya, advocate Supreme Court, and Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. I thank all of you for joining us on this broadcast to discuss this grim issue that we are actually facing today. I want to go across firstly to my guests, Harsh Singh Sahai. I want to understand what actually the law entails in this, because he has been suspended under Rule 3(2) of the AIS, Discipline and Appeal Rules. So I want to understand what deemed suspension actually means and what are the rights of the officer said accused in this case.
Hi Shivani, just want to confirm, I guess you got the name wrong. Is the question to me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Shivani, I would first like to start by pointing out that, we live in a weird country where citizens expect their politicians to be honest, but the same expectations are not extended to any other section of the society. In the world's largest democracy, corruption should not be tolerated at any level, and I applaud the brave officers of CBI for arresting Punjab IPS officer Shri Harcharan Singh Bhullar. So his rights are not being curtailed. He has several rights which he can exercise as per law. He will be given a fair trial. He has been arrested under prevention of corruption. And also, what we have gotten to know so far, that CBI had laid a trap for him from last 10 days. They had gotten a tip off, and after that, this specific trap was laid off, wherein he was evidently caught taking a bribe of 8 lakh rupees. And what is further shocking to me is that, for an officer who has amassed so much wealth, what has come out, several crore rupees have been found at his home, and even then he's being caught taking a small amount of 8 lakh rupees as bribery. And he has been caught. It has been established that he was taking bribe for settling a FIR. But what is the matter of further investigation is that, there should be a further investigation where it should be investigated where all he has taken bribe and settled such FIR matters previously as well, or letting go of some hardline criminals or implicated innocent people in fake cases by taking bribe from them. So this is a matter of investigation, and what is shocking further, that so much of Benami property has been, the papers of Benami properties have been found at his home and at his farmhouse. And also, I guess, now there has been a case registered against him under Punjab excise policy. So to see a IPS officer who is entrusted by the government, by the establishment and by the people of the country to implement these laws, he is flaunting those laws left, right, and center, be it corruption or be it this Punjab excise policy, which these people are entrusted with. So we have really honest officers in Punjab Police as well. We have really honest officers in CBI as well. And the honest officers of CBI has done their job. But like what was expected, that the Anti-Corruption Bureau or the Vigilance Bureau, as they are called in Punjab, they should have been the one nabbing the corrupt officers of Punjab Police. And rather their work was done by the CBI, which is a central agency. So I guess the Vigilance Bureau of Punjab need to get it act in order, and then nab all these corrupt officers and clean up this mess in Punjab Police related to corruption and all these flaunting of rules, like has happened in this case where he was caught with 180 liters of liquor without any proper license.
Absolutely, Mr. Dahiya. I'll want to rope in Sanjay Sahai into this discussion. Mr. Sahai, how do you see this? Because it has a lot of broader implications for policing in Punjab, and it's raised a lot of questions about the credibility. In this case, a DIG has been accused, and it's raising questions about the entire oversight over such senior officers in the force.
So we will start with the internal oversight, and internal oversight, as Mr. Singh was also saying, that internal oversight seems to be completely missing. Now we get into the genesis of this particular officer who got into the police force through very, very devious means. It might be legal on paper, but it was completely devious in the sense that in 1993 he came through a special recruitment. So he enters into the Punjab Police Service, if I'm right, because of the legacy of his father, who happened to be a former DGP of Punjab and did commendable work in anti-terrorism and variety of other areas. That is what I presume. He went on further, so he had this political influence and the bureaucratic influence, all he had, and he went on progressing in his life. I don't know exactly in which year he got the IPS, but public domain says he got IPS in 2009. Now, Harsh Singh was also talking about that the expectation is high from the political class and there is no expectation from the bureaucracy of the government servant. Precisely the opposite is true of whatever I have seen in my 32 years of career, that the expectation from the bureaucracy is much higher and people have literally given up as regards the political class is concerned. So this is where we stand. The fact of the matter is, if the public domain information is right, this gentleman also headed the Vigilance Bureau. Correct. So we are in a very, very tumultuous sort of situation where in public domain we are not ready to accept the fact that this termite of corruption is to a level where the anti-corruption agencies might be they're able to touch the superficial level. You go to the Parambir Singh case, you go to any number of cases, you get to Jharkhand, we had that IAS officer Pooja Singhal case, and then you go to Verma, I will not call him justice. So this is the way the whole country is painted. So finally, at least I am happy about the fact that the CPI could lay his hands on this particular officer, and the beauty of the matter is, or the irony or the paradox or our destiny, our fate of the matter is that these things would be well known to literally anybody and everybody in Punjab. What this officer is, everybody knows. It is public knowledge as to who is corrupt, how much corrupt, and what the running rate is. Precisely, largest number of transfers happen for money and the government which does the transfer. So I'll give credit to CBI. They could lay his hands on. They took their time, did a very meticulous job, and caught him the way he should be caught. Now I just hope and pray that it goes through the regular process and does not get into any of the slippages which we find in CBI on variety of occasions, and lots of times they do a very, very commendable job. So his track history, his operation, I think it gives of a mafia sort of operation all throughout his career of last 10-20 years. 7.5 crores, from where do you get it, man? Now, it's a crazy sort of a situation. 108 bottles, you have a farmhouse, you have literally anything and everything. What is the nature of stuff which is running? I have absolutely no idea. So, broadly, this is where we are. As per the All India Service Conduct and Appeal rules, if I got the rules properly. So, if 48 hours, if you are detained, then automatically you are suspended. He enjoys all the rights which any person with this case and all that, so that will happen. With the criminal case, there needs to also happen a departmental inquiry where he can be dismissed from service summarily. So that is also there. So broadly, we are in this thick sort of a situation, and the general understanding of the people and whatever is talked in TV debates and written in newspapers is at a very superficial level and presuming that everything is hunky-dory and there's only one black sheep coming up here and there. I think this particular case would be an eye-opener to prove that there are lots of things which are wrong and there are lots of people in the system who don't want to set it right. So it's a very cozy sort of an equilibrium which generally runs.
Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, I want to understand your opinion. Do you think this will also have a ripple effect on everyday policing, because such a senior level of an officer is actually involved in such a large bribery case? And how do you think, the credibility actually will be restored? It seems like a long drawn process. Mr. Sahai also pointed out that he was in fact head of a vigilance committee as well. How will we actually have credible officers going forward?
Well, the funny part is that it was in a neighboring state that a person was caught for corruption, and then the next thing you know, you're finding 3 people in Punjab, and it looks like the tip of the iceberg. This shows that the rot is deep. It goes beyond even the present government. It probably, lasted before this through successive governments. Punjab is as such bankrupt. At the same time, it is very rich. The rural, the farming classes are very rich and tax-free. Many of them own a lot of land and a lot of vehicles and houses and the like. The entire process of both politics and the bureaucracy seems to be run on quid pro quo of graft, one side paying off, the other side taking it, permitting various things, overlooking various other things. This is, not going to be uprooted by the perpetrators, which suggests that they are both the political classes as well as the bureaucratic and the policing and any other kind of official. But if the CBI, which is a central agency, keeps catching people, then something might come out of it, and it might reduce some of the corruption. If not, at least it will catch some of the loot and confiscate it.
Right. Mr. Harsh Singh Dahiya, I want to circle back to you on this issue. Do you think there will be challenges in proving the disappropriate assets and link it to corruption in this case, since he seems to have a backing? In fact, Mr. Sahai also has been pointing it out in his remarks.
See, most likely not. It would be very difficult for me to say without any proper documentation. Like we are not in public domain. We are not really aware what all properties have been found with him, what kind of assets have been found with him. There is just a rough knowledge about that. But yes, if he is able to prove that the properties that he has, that has been possibly passed down to him from his father or from his grandfather, then definitely he could be saved in at least disappropriate assets case. But if he's unable to prove that, because there was a report wherein it said that several luxury watches have been found with him, and as I know, he would have a salary of 2 or 2.5 lakh rupees per month, and then in that salary to survive as well, and then also to afford such luxuries of these luxurious watches and luxury cars, like several cars have been found with him. So that doesn't make sense to me. Then I guess the CBI would have a very easy task at hand to prove that all these assets have been bought from the generation of bribe money, or like some quid pro. At times we have seen that people in high power get these luxury items as gift. some people, some big businessmen and some licensers or fixers, as we call them. They give them the luxury cars, the luxury watches, and it is those people who are paying for that. So it would be very easy for CBI to prove all that. But yeah, his saving grace may be that he is somehow he is able to prove that the assets that he have been passed down to him from his father.
Right. Mr. Sahai, how common is this kind of demand? You have been seeing, you have been stating that corruption is seeped deep in this institution, and there is time for, it is time for change in the entire mechanism that is in place, the institutional safeguards that actually exist. Could you talk us through that as well? If there are any institutional safeguards in place in the police hierarchy to prevent or deter corruption at such a level?
See, Punjab is not something which is distinct and exclusive from the government. And police is nothing which is distinct and exclusive from government and the political class or the political executive, as we call it. Udta Punjab, I think all of us have seen and how this thing operates. Other day I was seeing in Bihar also, and there's somebody talking on the public domain in the media that there is a liquor ban or prohibition, as we call it, but liquor is readily available all around the place. I don't know how the mainstream media and variety of YouTube channels miss on the main discourse of this nation. Now the main discourse of this nation is as to how officers are transferred and they are appointed and posted to different places. If you miss out on the major discourse, so that we are missing out the source or the issue on which this whole thing operates. So until unless we don't get into that, we will not be able to understand. And any single case, whether it is Wankade, whether it is Paramveer Singh, whether it is Pooja Singh, I can name cases and after cases which are all there in the public domain. If anything happens, all of a sudden this disproportionate assets comes into play. And more often than not, the disproportionate assets are proven. If it is not proven, for some technical reasoning, it goes by the wayside. Now in this present case, as Mr. Harsh was talking about, so whether it has come to the ancestral line, the age of the assets and declaration of the assets will precisely decide. It is nothing to do with whether who gave, who did not give. We are only bothered about whether the assets are disproportionate to the known sources of income. That is it. And it is presumed in law that it has to be through corrupt sources because there is no other source. You have the discretion, or you are allowed to put from where you are getting. If you are not able to put forth in 20, 25, 33 years of service, then I don't think that really exists. So as far as I am concerned, and I generally step at least one step forward, CBI would certainly, we have done a huge amount of background work. The legwork would have been done, and not that they would be unaware of what his assets are and how the assets have been accumulated. And it will only be a matter of time when that is put in the proper legal format and charge sheet is worked upon and charge sheet is submitted and it goes through the judicial trial. Now you're talking about the police corruption, you're talking about the governmental corruption, and the fountainhead of all this finally comes to the political class, because if nothing is moving without that, in Deshmukh case and all that we have seen, and all of a sudden, people become enemies. They have been friends for ages and become enemies where something of this nature happens. You're talking about how you control this. There are enough rules and there are enough mechanism, enough ways and means and enough capabilities with the police and anti-corruption agencies have. There are vigilance agencies also all across the country. You have the Central Vigilance Commission. There are enough ways and means, and if that is put in order, there are at times, I think CBI was also raided once. So there are at times where I don't think we have the comfort as citizen, I'm talking like a citizen of this country, whether we have the comfort to give a clean sheet that all anti-corruption agencies in this country are non-corrupt. And people working in them are people which the government certifies to be die-hard, honest people with professional acumen, with grit and gumption and the courage to go against anybody, whatever come may. I think I'll stop with that.
Absolutely. Gautam Mukherjee, I want to understand that given the scale of the assets that have been uncovered, 5 to 7 crore in cash, you also have, huge amounts of gold and luxury watches, luxury cars. We actually are speaking about what is there an effect, what is the effectiveness actually of the internal audits that are taking place, of the asset verification process that is there in the police. This actually comes into the picture because they seem to be futile.
Well, the persons involved are all senior, some extremely senior. You had a similar situation in Haryana where, two people committed suicide and out comes the corruption, though the thing was trying to be given a different angle of caste and so on. It is rampant. And if this is what is happening at a senior police level in one instance, if you extrapolate this, what is the state of all the different branches of authority in a state, and the discretionary power that is enjoyed by the bureaucracy as well as the police, and of course the political classes who are also protected by law against being investigated by others. Now, with all this going on, you can safely assume that if people have not been found out, to answer your question, it is because there's collusion. Now, if one person is caught by a central agency, it sort of suggests that if you investigated a number of people at senior level in all branches, you would find very many more. In addition, most of the assistants of the politicians are the people who collect the money on their behalf. It goes on and on and on. The level of corruption that can be expected is massive. And this usually springs from the top, because if the top brass in the police or the bureaucracy or the political classes do not stamp it out or do not make efforts to avoid it, then it is taken as a cue to proceed, and everybody becomes part of this loot raj, and that is what you are witnessing.
Right. I want to bring in, the final words from all of my panelists one by one. Mr. Harsh Singh Dahiya, what are the key indicators do you think that we should look for going forward? And also, what's one change that, as per your understanding, we should prioritize so that such cases do not reoccur?
I would like to point out two things. First of all, I completely agree with Mr. Sahai. He has pointed out very clearly and perfectly, he has summed it up, that even the anti-corruption agencies, even their hands are not clean at times. There have been several instances wherein officers of these anti-corruption bureaus or even some of the central agencies who are entrusted by the government to act against corruption, even their officers are caught taking bribes at times. There have been several instances in the last 2 years as well. And the second point that I wanted to make is that I believe that the politicians, bureaucracy, or the judiciary, they all stem from the society. They are mirror to the society. One thing I've for the longest time believed, that the politician mirrors the society he is elected from. So if the society is uneducated, they usually elect uneducated politicians. And the same goes with all other sections of the government, be it judiciary or be it the executive. If the society becomes corruption free, if the society starts having zero tolerance against corruption, then slowly and slowly we'll see that we'll have a corruption free political system as well. We'll have a corruption free bureaucracy as well. The reason why, according to me, corruption is so so prevalent in our government and all sections of the society, because the society at core is very corrupt at the moment. And as long as we don't get rid of this corruption in our society, this will not transform into a corruption free political system, or a corruption free judicial system, or a corruption free executive.
Right. Mr. Sahai, a quick last word on what changes you think should come into place regarding supervision, audit or transfers, all the pointers that you have mentioned.
Yeah, I think Mr. Harris, in his very good faith, he has put the whole pyramid upside down. So it is something like bad quality movies being churned out because the audience likes it. So I will certainly not like it to blame it to the society, and to show a direction to the society. It is job of law and the law enforcement agencies and the political class, and that is the reason for which governments are elected. So I'll not get into getting verbose about it. Bring it to a very typical pointers. One is the government has to give us a corruption-free anti-corruption agencies. That is first. And in case something happens in that anti-corruption agency, which is shown by the judiciary or by anybody else, the government shall be held responsible, inclusive of whosoever is the minister in charge. Currently, what is happening, that the minister and the political class, they are never caught. So they can run their fiefdom in whichever manner they feel like. And finally, who pays? It's only the bureaucrat. It is not to defend the bureaucrat. He is equally there in that deep morass, he is there. But the point is, the political master has to be brought to book. The whole election expenditure runs in the tunes of lakhs and crores, and there's affidavits which go to Election Commission of India. God only knows what happens with it. You raised a very, very important question. What happens with whatever details of assets and all that lying in the government? I have absolutely no idea as to what happens with it. Most importantly, the symptoms are seen there on the ground. Whether it is a police station, whether it is a government office, now ease of business and ease of life. Two things are distinctly missing in this country, and any of you can try to a government office and get a sort of a response, which any of us would like to get that sort of a response. Oversight mechanism will only happen if the oversight is here. If people are getting into bureaucracy, they are getting into government to make hay while the sun shines. So the final question is, who wants to cleanse? If somebody wants to cleanse, cleansing will happen. Otherwise, individual cases will keep on happening and we will keep on debating. I have not seen any improvement. Might be till the deterioration also. Lokpal, what happened to Lokpal? Have you heard anything about Lokpal? I leave it at that.
Absolutely. Mr. Sai, I think it's a very important question that you've raised, but we also have to remember, you mentioned a committee that can actually, anti-corruption committee, but who is actually going to head it? Do we have officers who are clean enough to head it?
I'll tell you one thing. This oversight has to happen from outside the government. We have legislative oversight, we have civil society oversight. I think for a change, there has to be a civil society sort of a oversight, where you bring in people who are of credibility, and a credibility of a kind that they will die rather than bend. But the whole game is different. I think we are not able to, we are missing the woods for the trees. If you say that the same people will go there, then the same people will do exactly the same thing. They will get one more avenue of corruption.
How can we attach credibility, sir? We have a DIG over here in the middle of a
you cannot attach credibility to positions. No, let me tell you very clearly. Credibility cannot be attached to positions. Credibility has to be attached to that person's track record. And that is also known. In large number of cases, that is known. But if you have a credibility of that nature, you generally don't foot the bill. Bureaucracy has gone through 3 phases. Good work, reward. Good work, indifference. Good work, punishment. That's it.
Absolutely. A quick last word from Gautam Mukherjee. This case has broader implications on everything from policing in Punjab to political oversight and accountability also of top officers. What do you think the public should expect in terms of reform, accountability, institutional strengthening?
Well, I think the idea is to keep it unpredictable. You cannot institutionalize all this because corruption itself is institutionalized. Therefore, to quote a oft-used phrase, all power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you put anybody in charge on a permanent basis, however straight and narrow he might have been in the past, you're asking for trouble. So you've got to keep reshuffling this. You've got to keep sending in people from different cadres to go and shadow the people you suspect are corrupt, and you've got to expose them. If there is unpredictability in the way that you catch corruption, then perhaps some of the levels who are more liable to lose everything that they have. I'm not talking so much about the political classes who have insulated themselves against general scrutiny and need parliamentary oversight and parliamentary permission. But for the rest of it, you can make a difference. But institutionalize it and expect some kind of, witchfinder general to do this, well, that's been tried. That's been tried everywhere and failed.
Absolutely. On that note, I would like to thank all my panelists, Sanjay Sahai, Harsh Singh Dahiya and Gautam Mukherjee, for joining us on this broadcast and providing your valuable inputs. That's it for us on this bulletin. We'll see you after a short break.